Of course, that
Okay, good evening, Earth. This is Adam Sturch broadcasting from the
wasn't ready
Mushroom
for us.
Mansion, Taos, New
I think they
Mexico.
were.
Again, working on oil painting nurture. Alright, I was considering working on a different picture this evening, just to give it some variety, but the other compositional elements for this one kind of materialized as I was playing with it throughout the day. So, also, we got a new list started. I finished my Jiddu
there are a few Harvard people
Krishnamurti
here
collection.
in the room.
For what I have, I'll probably add to that as well. He's an interesting character. But I'm starting to redo my Timothy Leary collection next. And I'm starting off with the 1983 lecture between him and Ram Dass. Which is a really nice talk. It's good. It's interesting. It's them at Harvard 20 years after the fact of being thrown out.
Harvard University. I've already told you it's the
Okay, but firstly,
the main line of American mysticism.
while I fuck with my tripod here, what we're gonna do is put a snake coiled up in the hollow of her head, with its head kind of slithering out right here, and probably about right there next to her ear. Then we're going to have a figure down here flying a kite that will be strung with the kite part right about there. And then there's going to be a book open on this shoulder with a figure standing looking down into the illustrated side of the page of the book. That will be a scene opening into it. And then over here we're going to have a figure standing about there, aiming a gun and executing another figure standing on or falling over the side of her hip. Okay, so we'll start with the snake, and then I think I'll zoom in on each area that we do as I did last time.
Whether it's a fact or not, I love the image.
Yeah. It's a serious question, in 100 years, whether Harvard will be known for its graduates or its,
Oh, God. What a chutzpah he has. Unbelievable.
What was the name of that college that fired soccer teachers? We're going to make sure that Harvard's name will go down in history. When we left Harvard, by the way, it was the Harvard Crimson that got us canned. The Harvard Crimson has asked both of us to write an op-ed essay which will appear, I think, in Monday's paper. I'd like to accept that invitation. If you're going to be around and you get together, is it okay if I do it? What I'd like to do,
send my love.
and as the Harvard Crimson is here, what I'd like to do is I'd like to come over to the Harvard Crimson office tomorrow and sit there in the newsroom, and if you can loan me a typewriter, I can even handle a word processor. And I'd like to type a little essay right there in the newsroom. I'll get some notes from you so that
You'll know what to say.
I've signed your name to joint essay for the past.
He has indeed. He wrote Psychedelic Experience when I was out in the kitchen washing dishes.
Now, sometime after we left Harvard, well, right after we left Harvard, we went to Mexico, got kicked out of Mexico. We went to
Dominica.
Dominica, kicked out of Dominica.
Antigua.
Antigua, oh, did we get kicked out of
Millbrook. Then we went to Millbrook.
Yeah. Like, when we assembled at Millbrook, New York in the fall of 1963, we looked at each other and said, we've been kicked out of one college in 3 countries in 3 months. Now that's
We're doing well.
yeah.
And then we found melon country.
Melon country, yeah. Interestingly enough, I haven't showed this to Richard yet, but I got my Freedom of Information files from the CIA, and they actually tracked us, and I have the CIA documents about what we were doing in Dominica and how many people we were there. And they say, these people are going to start, quote, this is CIA language, an alleged happiness hotel.
We should have hired them for press.
The CIA is wonderful. I'm sure that Harvard being the home of the OSS and the CIA, I hope there's some alumni here of the CIA. Like when they kidnapped me in Afghanistan, the memo said, informal extradition.
Really?
Anyway, no more CIA jobs. Let's do it.
Yeah.
After this experience of getting canned from Harvard in 3 countries, we ended up at Mellon Country in Millbrook, New York, and stayed there for about 3 years. A wonderful series of chapters in my autobiography.
Just released.
Being published next month by Jeremy Tarcher and Houghton Mifflin. Jeremy, are you here? There's Jeremy. Two wonderful pictures of Richard in my autobiography.
Worth it for that. It's actually good though. I read parts of it because I've only seen it for a few hours, but it is fun.
So we ended up in Millbrook, New York, and stayed there for 3 or 4 years, and then we realized that we had escaped from a wonderful institution called Harvard University, and had set up another institution.
So that's
called,
it's up.
it was the Custodian Foundation. It was called the
The Rattlesnake.
Freedom Center, League for Spiritual
Now I
Discernment.
think we'll move over to the kite scene on her left shoulder.
We had enough of
Somewhere
a
in
happiness
there.
hotel meeting. The problem with running happiness hotels is
Of
that
course,
nobody
we're going
wants
to
to
need the kite in
leave.
the sky. So I may just leave it zoomed out a touch.
So we decided to,
There should be
we
some.
literally decided we would, remember that time we decided we would define ourselves as global travelers. This was perhaps, this was after Sputnik, but before Apollo.
Okay.
And we found out that for, in those days, $1,700, you could get an around-the-world ticket, which you had to use within 1 year. So we agreed that we would make an annual rotation around the globe in 1 year. And first, Ralph Messner went, and then I went, and then you went, and we closed down our center at Millbrook, and like astronauts buckling our spacesuits and heading to the 4 quadrants of the galaxy, or like knights of old saddling to go to 4 court, or 4 prison escapees heading in 4 different directions. Whatever metaphor you want to use. We decided to spread over the globe and see what was going on out there. And after 20 years, we reassembled to share with each other and with you some of our observations. The last 20 years have been remarkable. They have put us through the changes, and we put them through some changes.
There's no.
I know there's no us and them.
It's only us putting ourselves
I
through.
know you're going to say that.
I'm gonna treat your language. It's gonna you have to clean up his act.
I'll be the straight man.
Interim.
Richard is a Unitarian.
He ends up his book by calling me Theosophical Unitarian minister, right? Is that what you call him?
With a congregation of millions.
Congregation of millions, yeah. It's not a bad role. It's a little stodgy.
I know. Well,
I read his book.
What was that, Jeremy?
Putting on this image of myself that his mind creates, you know, and I'm this horny minister, you know, is all I can describe myself with hope.
I use the metaphor, one of the books that really damaged my brain at an early age and left me hopelessly,
Whatever you
call that, was
it's too hopeless to remember.
Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I think that's the ultimate American book. It's the, you know, the old trip up and down the river.
I only crossed the river.
Yeah. Helping to free any slaves along the way. Though I can never figure out whether I'm Tom and you're Dick or
Jerry. Tom and Jerry, I think it is.
Or I'm Huck and you're Tom. Or
I always saw you as this captain of the African Queen, which is funny considering, you know, and me standing behind you like Winston Churchill, being stolid. You know, he wasn't, it turned out, but he looked that way. I mean, how he looked, giving you courage to go on. That was the myth I used to work on.
we got a few miles off that one.
We got miles out of so many scenarios and so many myths. We still are.
Now, when we
whenever you want to play, just tell me.
Yes, you was something. When we left 20 years ago today, on our voyage of discovery, I've been very involved in politics, activism, prison escapes, running for governor, exile. I've been in 40 jails in 4 continents.
I haven't even been busted yet. I got a brand new belt. I'm ready to notch it.
We may have blown that whole stage.
Yeah, that seems past.
Well, I did it for you.
I appreciate it. I knew that at the time.
Yeah. I find that the metaphors I've been picking up in the last 20 years have been different naturally. I've gone through different terrains, learned new dialects, perfected some of the old dialects. The language is important, and as I listen to Richard and read what he writes, I see that he's saying very similar things, but in different words. At the moment, I'm very intrigued by the language of the information revolution, computer race. I'm entranced and enthralled by the notion of the brain as a network of 40 billion personal computers, apples and oranges and IBMs and the drugs or access codes and so forth, so that we have naturally picked up the dialects of the terrains we've been going through. I have been with Richard now for about almost 48 hours.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts on a farm, coming across northern Massachusetts. It's been intoxicatingly,
Hasn't it?
wonderful
Yeah, delicious.
48 hours.
Delicious.
We're just very happy to be here.
Yeah.
At this moment of reassembling, I would like to introduce to you the person who brought us together today. Our reunion is the conception, naturally, of a student. His name is Joy Casson. I ask you to join us in a grateful applause for our host.
It's interesting that you, Huckleberry Finn kind of imagery is your imagery. Because
Did you know, by the way, that Samuel Clemens, of course, grew up in Hannibal, Missouri, was working as a journalist or typesetter, got a little bored, and what set him on his wondrous voyage of discovery and adventure, he read a book about some travels in South America, in which the adventurer reported that the South American Indians in the Andes were using a substance which they chewed or ingested, which gave them tremendous euphoria and energy. Came from the cocoa leaf. So he started his career as a wanderer by leaving Hannibal and going down to New Orleans, where he planned to take a boat to Peru and bring back and market to the American public a substance that would produce euphoria and energy, which, so, as Doc Hume says, there's a long tradition of neurochemistry that we are just beginning to
I like you in spite of the methods we've used to get there. It's interesting. I saw Tim last year. I hadn't seen him for quite a while. We'd see each other off and on, but it was often a little like we had no business with each other. But I really wanted to honor Timothy, and I went up to his beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills with an absolutely exquisite wife, Barbara, and son, Zach. And I brought fruit and wine, and beautiful day, and we sat outside in the sun. And there was a point, Tim and I exchanged, it's like explorers meeting, and where have you been, and let me describe the terrain there. And then at one point in the living room, later in the evening, you and I were alone for a moment. I think Barbara was putting Zach to bed or something like that. And I said to you, Timothy, it's more beautiful than it's ever been before. It's all so empty. And you said, it is for me too. Remember that? And it was like at that moment we met in a space that we know each other so well that exists behind all of the Leary drama and the Alpert drama and all that stuff. It was just a flicker, and it was like a reassurance in a way. It's like grace for me. Isn't it? Did you feel that when yeah. It's interesting because as explorers go in these different directions, any paranoia you've got you're going to feed upon it, because the models are so disparate that I'll experience us as separate if I get caught in my model at all. And I keep getting caught, and so you became an object to me. Too bad about Tim. Got caught in materialism, wants to go in outer space, like, what kind of crap is that, the inner space. Should we play that? Which one should we play? We better be out of here in 45 minutes, by the way. We have to stop in 45 minutes, so the question thing at some point, whenever you want.
There are tremendous differences. There have been and always will be between us, because we come from different gene pools. We were exposed to different imprints as
at least
child. Yes,
at least.
Yeah. And
I'm planning on the error variance.
I honor these differences, but there's a similarity that I find not just in us, but in hundreds, thousands, and I'm maybe Celtic exaggerating here, but I would say millions of Americans that share our basic position.
Alright, so that gets Kite Kid and Book Girl
resurrection
and Rattlesnake in.
an acceptance of
I don't know if I can render an execution on the
our
hip
singularity,
in the
our
remaining
uniqueness,
8 minutes
our
and
rarity
22 seconds.
as
So
highly special
I may do a second
people.
take
We're
here.
all that way.
So I'd like to
The
get
way
that
I see
into.
it is the deeper
So then I can
got,
think about what's next.
the deeper I could acknowledge that
Alright,
part of me which is one with everything. It just is.
Okay. Take two coming up.
Deeper into my humanity, into my uniqueness.
Take two.
And I've never been more fully unique than when I'm least fully unique. I mean, I'm not, it's going from somebodyness to nobody's specialness to uniqueness. You know, it's like a unique face of God, of the formless. And it's interesting because when he said he went to prison for me, of course he does. Caspar Weinberg's working for me too. I'm carrying an American passport. I mean, what the hell? Let's take some questions. We have questions on either side, and we have to do them alternately. And don't yell out unless you're at a microphone. And where are we? There's one there, and where's the one over there? Okay. Why don't we start over here?
Okay. Basically, I have so many questions right now that I couldn't really think of one that would cover a broad spectrum of things I'd like to know from you. But
we've got very little time.
All right, the one that I'd like to ask is, where do we go from here? You know, I mean, you've set something up for us.
We got the question.
And yeah.
Where do we go from here? May I suggest something, Tim? Let me suggest you and I sort of face each other a little more, and let the questions sort of come into the middle of the consciousness, and let's play with them for a couple minutes. Is that all right with everybody? It makes you a little into the role of being a voyeurist, but that's not bad, you know. It's as fun as any other role. Is this okay? Okay. So the question before us, Doctor. Question, where do we go from here?
Well, everyone is pilot of your own spaceship, and there's no reason why you can't go wherever you want to go. Assuming you are serious enough and intelligent enough to get the navigational guides, to check out the landing strips, to know your equipment well enough to know what speed and altitude you can move at. But there's no reason why, at this moment in history, we are so fortunate, so blessed with options, and with virtuous perspectives. There's no limiting where one of us can go individually and collectively.
I agree. I have a friend who is a disembodied being named Emmanuel. You have your kind of friends, I have mine, okay? And Emmanuel speaks through a lady named Pat Rodergast. And Emmanuel, who I trust completely, I said to him, Emmanuel, what do I tell people about death? He says, tell them it's absolutely safe. He said it's like taking off a tight shoe. Okay? Who wouldn't trust somebody like that? And Emmanuel said to me, you have the choice of whether you want to be the creator or the victim. He said that all form in the universe, including your mind and your thoughts, is part of law. It's unfolding lawfully. It's the karma unfolding, just law. And within that, there is no freedom. So there really is no freedom in form. The freedom comes as the formless creates the form. That's where the freedom is. And that freedom of the formless coming into form is a place from which you stand, in which you, or you don't stand, in which you experience the creation of your own universe around you. And he said, you have the choice. Do you want to identify with that, with the law, or do you want to identify with that which lies behind the law? And so I think your answer's right on. Everybody's got every possibility. I mean, I can see the kind of tinsely thinness of the whole political superstructure of the earth. It's like one thought away from something. Do you get that feeling? Go ahead. Question.
Thanks.
Richard Alpert, you said, Mr. Alpert, emptiness is form, form is emptiness. To deny this world is to go astray. Yet I couldn't help noticing during the course of this dialogue that now and then you would detach yourself and go into a meditation. It reminded me as I was watching you that Emerson once said, the unity of mankind is to be found when all of the uniters are perfectly isolated. Personally, I think this is a deception. I think that the unity of mankind is not to be found when we are detached from each other at all. We must make our oneness real. We must do the very thing you're doing in prison.
We got the question. Come on, don't do that.
I'll say what I want, just as you did.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We're all one, brother. I say what I want and I'm free
This is
to.
Cambridge and Harvard, okay.
Just answer my question.
Of course I'll answer your question.
If you wish, you don't have to either. You're free also.
I understand.
I like rowdy crowds.
I like best the rowdy ones where the hearts are open. You know? So, and just as long as there's love, there can be incredible rowdiness. That's like an Irish, thing. The minute the love gets brittle and everybody's trying to do it, when the humor gets that way, it's Shiva, but I don't particularly choose those evenings.
We can smother any aggression with mellow.
We're answering your question. Don't go away. I think that the Castaneda line of being an impeccable warrior is right on. And I think to be an impeccable warrior, you can't be a slob at any level. And the level at which we are at form, to be a conscious being means to care about other human beings and be involved with them and be responsible for them and to be sharing with them. And that unity is the physical vehicle into the other realms of unity. It's a method. It's the method of Tantra, of going through form to beyond form.
All right. Well, that changed a little bit from my initial conception of it. I had in mind the figure being shot already dead and laying down, but I suppose the rifle pointing at him with his hands up works better for the composition.
Personally would view it more as the Brett and Bart
For the next step, since that didn't take too terribly long,
what was your
I think
relationship to
I'm
the
going to
Brotherhood
put
of
someone
Eternal Love,
watching
if
a
any,
television
inside
on her
California, and
calf.
What did you think
Maybe
of
playing a video game.
Kesey's letter to you that was written, I
Let's see
believe, and
about
published in Rolling Stone when you were in exile?
All right there.
The Brotherhood of Eternal Love was a group of Southern California young people. It was about 8 or 10 men and women, no couples, 16 or 20 men and women. For one brief period, we're bringing in more dope into this country than perhaps anyone in history. There's that rare moment in American history when dope smuggling was if I can excuse the expression, a holy enterprise. They were, well, it should be, but these were the days before transport planes and Bolivian generals and million-dollar payoffs. These were kids, high school and college kids from Southern California that would go to Mexico on the road, beat up cars, and drink tequila with the wonderful people down there, and bring a few kilos back, smoke half, and sell the rest. They were doing it conspicuous underconsumption. They drove terrible cars that were always breaking down on the highway filled with contraband. There were 8 or 10 of them. They became a legend. They became a myth. At one point, you could go in any youth ghetto in the Western world, or you could go to any town in Afghanistan, or Lebanon, or Pakistan, and say the few magic syllables, Brotherhood of Eternal Love, and you were immediately accepted. Then it became like any myth or institution. It became too popular. Pretty soon there were lots of people going around saying that they were members of this group, and eventually it became like Johnny Walker after a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Like any other
It's
group,
illegal.
the same thing happened to Christianity. You know, after.
Go.
Ken Kesey has always had a very interesting relationship with us. We honor and love and respect what Kesey did on the West Coast when we were in our more meditative and pedantic scholarly mood here at Harvard at Millbrook. Kesey and Ken Babbs and his group, the Merry Pranksters, just barreled across the United States, emitting day-glow sparks of illumination, and played a wonderful role.
I find Ken kind of dull.
Yeah, he had become dull.
Yeah, he has become dull, exactly.
But I think he'll come back.
Yeah, undoubtedly, we all do. Yeah. But I was trying to think of day-glow sparks, and I don't get that off that way from
I know, but we're in touch with Ken.
Tuning out, Ken.
We'll get him on a platform sometime, huh?
Question.
I'd like to ask about writing in collaboration with another person or in a team with people as a means of broadcast. Do you think it enhances or detracts creative output? Is there a good algorithm for multiplexing different inputs when you're trying to write in a team? And specifically, Dr. Leary, are you going to write with Robert Anton Wilson again, or would you with Aleister Crowley if you'd have had the shot at it?
Got all that?
No, I didn't. Did you?
The question is about writing as teams and with other consciousnesses, like, who are you going to write with? Things like that.
Well, that's an interesting question.
Input of a lot of ideas.
Yeah. The notion of the lonely writer in his or her garret and the pen pouring out the genius in that lonely room, being misunderstood or occasionally hitting, that's as old-fashioned to me as
The quill?
Yes, yeah. Or the Paleolith cave person on the wall. I think writing should be collaborative. I've been fortunate enough in the last 2 years to have simply the best publisher in the world, Jeremy Tarcher. Jeremy has provided me with editors so that I now see writing a book as like making a movie in which I start off with a script writer. There are editors and film cutters, and anyone that walks in the room can read what we're doing, see what's on the wall, and change it. I noticed that your works have always been collaborative, and I think that the future of verbal communication is going to be.
I'll tell you, something interesting happened to me is that and I think it was psychedelics and whatever Eastern trip I got into, but there was some way in which I shifted from vertical to horizontal social structure. And I really started to appreciate what networking is about. And I saw that it was that even though, like at this moment, we're playing these
this one a little further along and gets more of the figures populating the main figure
that's
in place. Now it's starting to get to the point where I may consider color schemes and detail what's there before adding more, or I may mull on it and put in some more scenes.
My next book,
in the foreground anyway.
It's my autobiography. It's called Flashbacks. I really think you should.
All right. All right. So here.
Brain Damage Incorporated, but.
Listening to Tim and Ram Dass and not paying attention to my Zoom. All right. So I wanted to do an overview. We have girl, hands on hips, looking at a picture in a book.
The book is on
kite flyer.
It's on a word processing
and the string.
disc, an enormous disc, not a little floppy disc.
And the rattlesnake.
And I'm going to invite any reader who has a different image of that.
And then over here to the video game player.
Hundreds and hundreds of people were involved in each of these scenes in my book. Or anyone that had a different version of that period can write in a line, a paragraph, even a page, and if it fits, and if we can use it, we'll put that new version in so that the next edition of the
Okay,
book,
but that's it
and
for the
subsequent
moment. Thanks for
edition of the
watching.
book
That's Adam
will
Sturch
be an
broadcasting from
ongoing,
Mushroom Mansion House, New Mexico, working on oil painting nurture. Have a good night, Earth.